After the World Champs in Nice, I'm in off-season now. But you might be wondering why I'm wearing the cycling kit like this. The thing is, at work, we're doing sort of an event with, I think it's a regional thing, or German-wide. We ride a bike to work, and we earn points. So I'm riding 30 kilometers one way, 60 kilometers in a day kind of thing. Just nice and slowly, nothing too harsh. You can see the data actually in the Strava. You can see the links, the link below. So the topic I'd like to talk about today is when to have a rest and how long and how do you know. That's the topic today. Obviously, after the World Champs in Nice, I'm feeling tired, and I'm not clear. I'm not so clear in my mind, so I might mumble and just things may not be clear. But that's exactly when you should be having a rest. When you want to start doing exercise regularly, it's quite difficult to get into the routine. But once you get into it, it's kind of difficult to stop. You feel like, if I stop, if I don't do the session today, I feel like I'm doing something bad for my body. But to get better, you need to have a rest. Because once you do training, without recovery, you wouldn't get any stronger. So you need a rest. Usually you do some exercise during the day and sleep overnight and you recover and you become stronger. But after you're doing that for days, weeks, then accumulation of fatigue is going to hinder your growth. So you need to have a rest. But when? I think many of you have got this kind of activity watches or Apple Watch or something like that, which takes heart rate. And they have a function to get your resting heart rate. And with the app, you can see what your resting heart rate is. Check out what your resting heart rate is. When you're really tired, it starts showing unusual numbers. Sometimes it's very high, sometimes it could be really low actually. Depends on a person and also the situation as well. It gets affected bad sleep or not enough recovery or too much stress in your life, and you have to check what affects you and how. So you will know when to stop. If the number is really odd, the chance is you might need a rest. And you don't have to feel guilty about not doing the exercise. Usually, a day or two will get you back on track. But if it's a serious problem, you really have to think about what's causing that problem. You might not recover, or you might go back to the normal state by just doing nothing. So that could be quite serious. Sometimes you are so tired from the build-up of training, you might have to rest for more than 2 days. If that's the case, I usually do sort of more recovery sessions. In fact, I do that for the rest day sometimes too. Rarely though. which is you shouldn't exceed 30 minutes and just really light intensity, something really light, swimming really slowly, breaststroke or whatever, something relaxing in the water. Or I don't do much of running because it stresses my joints and muscles too. Nice pedaling on a bike, yeah, that's okay. But yeah, I never exceed 30 minutes. That's my rule. That's my rule for the recovery day. Then you can actually start training again. You should be good to go. Usually the resting heart rate comes back down to your normal value and you're okay. That's how I digitize my resting health state. That really keeps me on track. I also check sometimes. I used to check every day, but sometimes I check my heart rate variability, which you can add some app to your activity watches, and you can check that too. Some watches actually track it automatically. You really have to get a value when you wake up though, because during the day you have loads of different kinds of stress and the value is going to be different. So it's not so reliable. But when you wake up, I'd say even before you get out of bed, when you wake in the morning, you just check your heart rate variability. Usually when you're stressed, the time between each pulse become more consistent. And when you're relaxed, sometimes it's short, sometimes it's long. And when your body is not recovered, the variability gets less and less. That's the time when you have to have a rest. But to do that, also like a resting heart rate, you really have to monitor that for a while, so you can understand what your best value is, and you get to know, below this point, you have to have a rest. Then the same again, when the heart rate variability comes back, you can get back to training. That's how I know when to have a rest. Having said that though, I usually just put my rest days in a training, usually once a week. Sometimes, if it's really intense training sessions, then I have 2 resting days a week. But it really depends on what I'm doing. And if I feel so tired in the morning after not so great sleep, or for any other reasons, if I don't recover enough, I just don't do the training. I give priority to recovering. That's the best way to avoid injuries or overtraining. If you injure yourself or overtrain, you never get better. It's like you go 3 steps forward and going back 4 steps. You won't be able to go forward. Rather, I'd have 2 steps forward and have a bit of rest, then go forward another 2 steps. That gives me, maybe perception-wise, a bit slower, but in the long term, we can go so much further. That's how you should be training. I've talked about digitizing health parameters, heart rate, resting heart rate variabilities, and that kind of things. But there is another very important element to it. That's your mind. I think in a way that's sometimes more important than actual body. And without refreshing your head, you won't be able to recover, especially when you've been training for a long time, like 5 years, 10 years. You've got to have a rest, a downtime to just feel nice and easy. At the beginning of this video, I said I've been cycling to work 30 kilometers one way. Why would you do that? To me, it's kind of relaxing. During the season, I didn't get to ride my bike outside because my training was so specific. I just didn't have enough time to ride outside and enjoy the weather. Now, Berlin is not so warm, and not so cold actually. So yeah, I can really enjoy riding outside. And it's quite important for me. I need to enjoy. I really need to enjoy sometimes. And that's what I'm doing now. It's a off season. Many people just don't do any exercise. I usually don't do any exercise, but this year, yeah, I've just decided to enjoy. Although, yeah, I said 30 minutes active rest kind of thing for the physical kind of part. Actually, I'm doing 1 hour one way, 2 hours in a day. It's a bit too much, to be honest. But I'm doing that low intensity, and I feel good. I feel like my mind is getting refreshed. I feel like now I do enjoy, and I know why I'm doing this sport. So yeah, it's quite important. I'll be making more of these health-related sport, diet kind of videos. And if you don't want to miss them, please do subscribe. And if you want to follow my data, training data on Strava, which is a social media platform sharing training data, you shouldn't get too obsessed about data though. But yeah, social media, looking at other people and, oh, Louis hasn't been really doing much training, or he's meant to be having off season, but look, he's riding 30 kilometers one way. Oh, in the afternoon, he's riding another 30. It's like 60 k's a day in his off season. You get to see that. You get to see that kind of thing. So yeah, you can follow me on Strava there, and of course Instagram, Triathlon Sushi. Instagram, I update more photos and videos more regularly than the YouTube. So yeah, just follow me there too. So see you next time.